Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's officially Wednesday. As of right now, it is Wednesday. Hope you had a nice Tuesday night. I won my college football bet. Actually, I would have won that under in the Toledo game, too. I didn't bet that, though. The only bet I placed was the over in Ball State, Buffalo, and that one. So I won my college football bet. Unfortunately, gave some money away in the NBA, 0-2. Actually, good news, I forgot to post the Jazz pick on the website. So on the website, I went 0-1. Just literally forgot. But yeah, I lost the two NBA bets. NBA right now is tough. A lot of what I do is based on data, and I just don't have a lot of it. Not to mention, until college football slows down, Thanksgiving weekend when the regular season ends, NBA, it's just treading water, some small bets. So college football bet won. So coming in with some high energy. We're going to talk 4 college basketball games, and the first one, Toast requested the Kent State Auburn game with a 20.5-point line. I don't know why he requested this one. The poll I put up, will Toast make it 2 winning days in a row? 92% of you said yes, so 92% of you must not know him very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I just want to say really quickly, I feel reinvigorized. Excuse me.
Invigorated?
What Mark Pope?
Yeah,
whatever. I shouldn't be using words that I don't know, but it's just Mark Pope and the Avengers just got me going. I mean, I literally had to take my shirt off for the last 5 minutes of that game. I was so hot and bothered. I didn't know what was going on, but man, how good and deep is that Kentucky team? I mean, they are legitimately 8 or 9 strong. Just a fantastic performance. Just goes to show you that John Shire doesn't know dick about coaching, putting Cooper Flagg in those isolation spots. It's just an absolute joke. Duke is terrible. We can go ahead and talk about Auburn now.
You said you had to take your shirt off for the last 5 minutes of the game.
I was hot.
All right, Kentucky
Proctor
basketball.
hit that 3. I was like, oh no. But
I know you were when we were all watching the. Actually, I think everyone was scattered, but I know you were typing in Discord in all caps about the game. I was like, damn, he's really into this shit.
I was. That was a fantastic basketball game.
Someone in the chat says hashtag reinvigorized. All right,
he
so
combined 2 where he actually messed up energized and then messed up.
Yeah, it was a mixture of reinvigorated, which I believe is the word. Am I messing it up too?
It's reinvigorated. Yeah.
It's reinvigorated and energized to get reinvigorized. So Kent State Auburn.
Next Webster tomorrow, and that'll be a new word tomorrow.
Toes, why don't you tell us why you requested this bum ass game?
Because there is only a select few games that's even worth talking about, and I figured that Auburn and Kent State being a mid-major team that a lot of people know or at least a little bit familiar with, I thought this would be a good place to kick it off. So anytime that you can bet on Auburn in the jungle, it's always a pretty good bet for me. So I'm probably going to be taking Auburn first half here. I don't really know what to expect from this Kent State team. They haven't really shot the ball well, especially from deep. And if they're not being able to do that, I have a hard time believing they're going to have success inside against Auburn. Auburn, a top 50 team as far as height is concerned. Kent State, one of the smallest teams in the country. I will say that Auburn has been a little bit of handsy. They've been getting in trouble with a little bit of fouls so far. Again, it's very early, and Kent State does shoot free throws very well, and Auburn doesn't shoot free throws well at all. But I just think that this Auburn team is too big, too experienced, and too deep. I mean, Auburn's also like 12th in the nation as far as bench minutes as well. So it's not just guys like Broome and Johnson that's carrying the load. It's guys like Mile Kelly and Denver Jones and whatnot as well. So I think this is an Auburn spot, maybe full game. If this number continues to creep up, I wouldn't mind. Like if you got Kent State plus 23.5 or something like that, I mean, it gets to a point where it's not even worth playing Auburn. But again, it's just Auburn in the jungle is a spot that for the last few years has been very, very good to me. I will give you that maybe it's a little bit of a letdown spot after. I know that Vermont isn't recognized as a good team, but they're like a perennial powerhouse as far as their conference is concerned. That's no slouch of a game. And then obviously Houston. But at the same time, Auburn doesn't really have that big of a break. They have Kent State, who's a top 30 team in the country, followed by North Alabama. And then it really hits hard with Ohio State, Duke, and then Iowa State, Ohio State, and Duke over the next week and a half or so. So I don't really think they have time to have a lull here. But yeah, I think Auburn rolls.
Andy.
Yeah, I was going to mention that over the next couple games they could have a lull because they're going to Maui
I was going to say that might change things. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily know if that's going to matter here. I expected more. I expected the regression they had from three. They shot like 60% from three in their first game or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And then they shot 30% last game, but still won.
They shot 45% the first game. Excuse me.
Yeah, they had a sick run too, where like the same guy was chucking up three.
Yeah.
But you had a feeling the regression was coming, and they still survived it. I think they'll be fine here with this. Kent State, like you said, they're not shooting the ball well. Auburn's a very difficult team defensively. They will drive you off the 3-point line, and it's a disaster when you're not in a rhythm against Auburn. It can get ugly really quickly. They can force turnovers really quickly. Kent State's had an issue with that so far. So
yes.
Yeah, I would take Auburn to cover this. I know it's a high number. Probably first half would be a good way to go if you don't want to worry about a backdoor cover. But yeah, I would lean Auburn here too. Kent State,
also, the other thing with Kent State is that they haven't played anybody either. And when they played a non-ranked Miami Hamilton team, they still only shot 12 for 28 from three. So if they're going to fire up anywhere close to 28 three balls against Auburn, they're not going to make nearly 40% of them. I can promise you that.
They shot 25% in their first game and won.
So what about a Kent State team total under, like 60.5 or whatever the hell it is? Be 73. It'll be 63.5 if my math is correct.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Neither one of these teams is really pushing the pace either. So, I mean, I know Auburn tries to and they like to, but they're not. I don't think they've cracked the top 100 yet. And Kent State's one of the slower teams in the country, so they're definitely. I mean, there's no way they're coming in here thinking like, oh, we're going to run with Auburn and we're going to be all right. They're going to try to slow this game down to an absolute crawl.
I'm putting Kent State team total under up. Don't know a damn thing about Kent State basketball. But if it's anything like their football team, they probably struggle to score.
They did. Yep. I mean,
Golden Flashes under. All right. Our poll, the 22 people that voted here after midnight, 59% to 9%. So, yeah, as expected, there's not many people flooding the lines here to bet this Kent State team. So let's move on to the next game. North Texas, Minnesota. 1.5 point line. Is this a neutral site?
I don't think so.
No, this is
it's at home. Andy, are you on either one of these sides? I'm kind of mad I missed the number at 3 with North Texas. I don't know if it's worth 1 or 1.5 right now.
It's gonna sound crazy, but I'm on North Texas because they have the size. They don't actually.
Oh no, that's not crazy at all. I'm just mad I missed the number, but yeah.
They don't have. It's weird. They don't have the size advantage, but Minnesota's struggling to rebound against Omaha and Oral Roberts. So like.
Also, their best player, what's his face? Garcia. What's his first name? I don't know his first name. Dawson Garcia is questionable. If he's out, which I assume with the line moving this way, he's probably trending towards not playing. Yeah. That's literally their best player who probably gets the ball in about 30% of their possessions. So it'd be a huge loss if he does not play, which he's questionable.
Shipley in the comments says North Texas is free, and I almost guarantee he doesn't know a damn thing about North Texas.
He doesn't. I bet you he couldn't even tell you their mascot.
A team that can score a lot of points. Now, the number doesn't tell you that either of these teams is going to score a lot of points because it's 131.5. But I think that's partially because, like you just said, their leading scorer who's averaging 27 a game for Minnesota's probably not going to play. But yeah, North Texas is a better rebounding team, which is crazy. But Minnesota struggled to rebound against Omaha. They out-rebounded Oral Roberts, but not by a lot for a game that they won pretty handedly. So they're struggling to rebound early, and North Texas really isn't. So I know North Texas, one of their games is against a D2 school or whatever, but yeah, I think that just the fact that they're out rebounding, going to get extra shots is going to give North Texas. Plus, if you're missing your best player, I think this might flip. The line might flip overall if he's rolled out.
Yeah.
100%. What's the talent discrepancy here between North Texas and Minnesota? Is it huge?
I would argue that I personally, and again, I might be on an island here. I honestly think that North Texas has more talent. Especially, I mean, a Garcia is good. There's no question about that. But I truly believe that North Texas is 9-10 guys deep. I mean, 9-10 guys deep. Excuse me. Anton Wright, Jasper Floyd, Latrell Jostle. I mean, all these guys can play. Rondell Walker can play. I mean, Grant Newell's 6'9". I honestly feel from top to bottom, North Texas has a much better roster. I don't know how you feel about that, Andy, but I think they have the better roster, and I think that Ross Hodge is like a head and shoulders better coach than freaking Ben Johnson. But I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. North Texas is 7th in the AAC preseason poll, but the 7 teams in front of them are all really good. I mean, I guess Temple's not, but I mean, Temple's considered to be much better this year. Minnesota's one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I don't know how you even that out. Obviously, I think Big Ten's obviously of better stature, but yeah, I would think they're similar. Like I said, North Texas is always in the mix. They've always had pretty good players that'll leave in the portal usually, so they always have a scorer that's really good. They clearly have one this year, so yeah, I think North Texas is going to win this game outright, especially if Garcia doesn't play.
I can't really add anything much. I think that I was actually kind of surprised that we were getting, well, you originally could have got 3 with North Texas. That's why I was kind of hoping to talk to you, because I was thinking in my head, I even wrote that in the Discord. I was like, I mean, I'm mad. Like, how did we not play the 3 versus North Texas? So with North Texas. So
just went
I think that Jasper Floyd and Wright could be really stars. So North Texas, what we know from them and Ross Hodge is they're going to keep it slow. They're going to keep it a crawl, and they're going to play through their defense. And I don't see it. There's anybody on Minnesota that's going to be able to take advantage of that. And on top of that, North Texas usually doesn't score, but like I just said, with Floyd and Wright together, inside they can't shoot worth a lick. But if our boys at College Basketball Analytics, I mean, you can look at their shot charts. I mean, anywhere from outside they can really shoot it up, especially from the corners. So I think all the advantages lay in North Texas's favor right now.
For college football, they have talent composite rankings where you could look and see this team's 59th in talent composite, and it goes by the amount of 4-star recruits, the amount of 3-star recruits, and it gives you a good idea, because obviously there's experience and coaching and matchup and spot and all kinds of stuff that goes into it. But sometimes you want to add to your handicap, just like how much more talented is this team? And I was wondering if there's any sort of rankings for college basketball along those lines, that just shows me who's got the best recruits, like which team has the most raw talent this year, and then we can go into who's performing, who's underperforming, who's overperforming. Because Florida State, for example, is like 10th in talent composite, obviously dramatically underperforming, but you can still go look and see they are 10th. There's nothing like that in college basketball.
Not that I'm aware of. I think Evan Mia has something very similar to that. I don't know exactly how it's calculated or whatnot. Maybe Andy knows, but
I think Evan does have something.
Yeah,
it's like a talent ranking.
Yeah, it's going to be closest to that. He does a lot of stuff like that as far as on-off talents and stuff like that. So
Evan Mia?
Yeah, MYA or
Evan Mia, CBB
MIYA.
Analytics. Yep, I found him. All right, I'm following him. I'll check out his stuff later. All right, cool. So
you'll like him. He's a computer nerd too.
Oh shit, too? I guess I'm a computer nerd.
Oh, you're a mastermind. What are we talking about?
All right, so you guys both are on North. Did you guys bet this, or we just?
I'm going to bet it if Andy says yes. If he actually bet it, I'll bet it.
Screw it, I'm in.
I'm in. I was mad that I missed the 3. You know, I'm a CLV slut, but I'll take it.
All right.
All right. Just referred to himself as a CLV slut on the show.
Print the shirts.
That was nothing like compared to what Modai did earlier. Did you see that clip?
Dude, that was awesome. He said, first of all.
Me and Ronald were like, what? And then he was like,
he tweeted about it later too. He doubled down, tripled down.
Oh, Tinker's
thanks, Matt.
Tinker's in the chat telling me I'm a nerd too. Thanks, Tinker. Just for that, I'm not sending your trophy.
Ooh, rough one, Tinker. It's hard to take.
No, for the trophies, I wait until every 3 weeks, and then Andy goes to the post office and mails 3 out at once. So that's why. So you and one other person are both waiting for their trophies right now. I mail 3 out at a time. So let's put a Hofstra Seton Hall. Obviously, knowing nothing about Hofstra, isn't this line a little insulting for Seton Hall? 5 to Hofstra? Is Hofstra good?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh,
they're good.
Hofstra's good. Seton Hall. not. They're just they lack
on.
respectfully, and I will give Shaheen Holloway so much credit. Last year, what he did with this team, granted he had a star in Kadari Richmond. What he did with this team was get them close to the tournament last year. They were one of the first teams out. Now he lost Kadari Richmond, and they just don't have the money to replace him. The talent level on this team is toward the bottom of the Big East, and that's saying something because that's with DePaul, that's with George. Like they are one of the worst.
DePaul is going to be very good this year. Watch your mouth.
Yeah, I think DePaul's better than Seton Hall talent-wise. Not saying they're gonna have a better year, but like Seton Hall did not have they don't have the resources to replace like every other school can. So he kind of just got left with taking guys from like I don't even remember a lot of like JUCO guys, not JUCO guys that are starting, but he got from lower level schools and they're trying to plug them in and they clearly don't fit yet. Alamir Dawes is like the guy on this team. He's not a guy who can run this offense, and he was pretty much running their offense against Fordham. They can't shoot. They just it's unfortunate. They just don't have a lot of talent. Hofstra, while they're obviously lower level players, they always play these Big East team stuff. They nearly beat St. John's last year. They have a really good coach who's going to be coaching in the Big East next year, probably in Speedy Claxton. So I don't insult.
Yeah, he's with his alma mater.
Yeah, he'll probably be coaching Villanova next year at this point. But I don't think the line's insulting at all. I'm not saying I can't bet it, obviously, but if I were betting this, I'd probably bet Hofstra. Seton Hall just lost to Fordham, so maybe it is a bounce back spot. They also played a close game with St. Peter, so it's very clear this team just doesn't have a lot of talent on it. It's going to take time for them to even mesh. By the time they mesh, they're going to probably be losing to St. John's by 30, Creighton, but like it's going to take a while, and by the time that they mesh, they're not going to be competitive at all.
Oh, Vanderbilt is in the chat. Towson looked like shit tonight.
Yeah, I was worried about that one.
They did.
So you're leaning towards well, obviously you can't bet it in New Jersey, but you're leaning towards Hofstra?
Yeah.
I just look. Seton Hall did lose to Fordham. That's
They lost to Fordham, and they very easily could have lost to St. Peter's as well. If you break it down into quarters, they had a really good in the last 10 minutes of the game. But before that, they were very, very close to losing that game.
Vanderbilt is on Hofstra in this one as well, says the chat. Toast, do you agree?
Yeah, again, it's just going back to, doubling down on what Andy said. Obviously, Kadari Richmond leaving is huge, but Shaheen Holloway, I don't really know if he's that good of a coach, especially at this high of level. And you're really getting a lot of respect laying 5 here with a team that obviously, like we just talked about, barely beat St. Peter's, lost to Fordham. They're shooting barely 40% from the field. They're turning it over nearly 25% of their possessions. They shoot free throws at maybe 60%. And this isn't like something new. Even last year with Kadari Richmond, it's not like they were like some fantastic team. He was good, but everybody else was very mid. So, and again, they were a very good free throw shooting team last year. So again, I just think that the drop off in talent for Seton Hall this year, it's going to take Shaheen Holloway some time. And like Andy said, Hofstra is one of those teams that's continued to play upper level competitions well. Last year they played Princeton tough. They played South Florida tough, or they won it by 20. They played Charleston, who was a very good team last year. They only lost by 9 to them. Andy touched on the St. John's game. The only time that they ever looked really bad was on the road against UNLV. They got blown out, but then that next game was St. John's and they looked fine. So it would only be Hofstra. I don't know if it actually makes my card or not. I do. There's a part of me that kind of feels like the books might know something that we don't. I have a feeling because I just felt like 5 was so much. I made the game 2.5.
Well, it looks like it opened at 5.5. It's been bought down to 4.5 already. So
yeah, I was gonna say I personally made the game 2.5. I even thought 3 was a stretch. I made it 2.5 Seton Hall just because they are. I do think they're a little bit better team, but
could it be people they just expect Seton Hall to not be this bad because they've been really
exactly. And honestly, if they would have, it's part of me giving them 2.5 too, is they're coming off of that loss to Fordham. And I do think that Hofstra isn't as good as Fordham. I could be wrong there. We're really splitting hairs with those two teams, but again.
Where is this game being played?
This is at Nassau in Nassau Coliseum.
Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah. So technically a neutral site.
I'm putting up.
I think Hofstra plays a good amount of games there.
I'm putting up Seton Hall.
I was going to say, don't they play a few every? Yeah.
They play. I know that for a fact they play games there, but I don't know how many.
Vandenbosch says Seton Hall got lit up by Fordham's guard. Hofstra has multiple great guards. Let's move on to the next one. The last one. Just one more game to go through. And this one is Cal at Vandy.
Go ahead, Andy. You bet it before me.
Yeah, I'm on Cal here. Very clear.
How is this 8.5? Anybody in the comments?
I tried telling you.
I
tried to tell you why. Basically, when you bring a guy like Jerry Kill into an athletic department, it doesn't just lift up the specific unit that he interacts with. A guy like that it's like electricity, the energy right through the entire athletic department, and clearly it's spilled over to the basketball program.
Yeah.
I'm laying.
Clearly, I'm laying. If I'm playing, I'm laying.
People are like, remember last year, Toast, I did that, and someone was like, is he talking about what coach was I talking? Oh, back
Campbell. It was Campbell. It had to be Campbell. It's always Campbell.
And someone was like, wait, does he know that that's the football coach?
Yeah, it's got to. Yeah, it was Matt Campbell for sure.
It's always him. It's 100%. I'm sure we'll be talking about them eventually.
Deadass, though, all jokes aside, you guys are about to give your spiel about Cal. If this poll comes in all on Cal, I'm betting Vandy. I'll be on my own island. Jerry Kill. That's it.
If all 20 of you motherfuckers are betting Vandy, I'm betting.
If you guys are all taking Cal, you guys don't believe in Jerry Kill. You don't believe in what they're doing over there. I'll lay the points.
So yeah, obviously this is a weird game for Cal, so maybe that's part of it. But they have been good against bad competition. Same thing with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is out rebounding their opponents at like a sick rate so far, and that is just it's not sustainable against a team of Cal's. I mean, I'm not saying Cal's like a great team. They're not. Right? They're probably one of the worst teams in the ACC this year. Vanderbilt's one of the worst teams in the SEC. So, like, these are two of the worst teams in their conference. But they out rebounded their first opponent by 18, and then they out rebounded their next opponent by 21. Like that, that's not sustainable. And they only won the last game by 9. They out rebounded by 21. They won by 9. Like you can't sustain that level of dominance over your opponent when you're playing a better team that can shoot a little bit. They'll shoot better than they did. Like. They shot 42% in their last game. This is Cal, and then 30 in their previous one. So, like, they're a fine shooting team. The only thing that would worry me is it's a road game, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. Early in the season, a lot of teams are playing on the road if you're, like, Cal's level where you want to play these road games. So, and trust me, Nashville, Vanderbilt Stadium, that's not exactly a home court advantage there.
I'm going there this year. I'm going to the Auburn game this year. I can't wait.
I have pushback on that. That used to not be.
Yeah, tell that to Alabama fans.
I told you, electricity through the athletic department.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there, these fans. They're fired up about all things Commodores.
Did you notice, Andy, we're getting AJ Hogard versus Matty Sissoko in this matchup?
When? Oh, this...
Yeah, Sissoko plays, or Sissoko, or whatever his name, plays for Cal. Hogard plays for Vandy.
I didn't realize Cal's leading scorer so far is Blackshear from Grand Canyon last year. That was
I was just about to talk to him.
I remember Blackshear
yeah. Him and that Ola Joseph kid, I think could be really stars for them because they're both of those guys are shooters. That Olaf Joseph kid shoots like 60% in his college career so far from the field. Him and Blackshear both shoot over 40% from deep. They got that kid DJ Campbell from Western Carolina. He's another guy that shoots over 40% from deep as well. I don't understand this line. If you're telling me because it's Cal on the road and Vandy has a big rebounding advantage, okay, cool. I still make this game 4. Both teams, a lot of roster turnover. Cal might get turned on the boards, but Vandy struggles with turnovers. They can't hold on to the ball. I think Blackshear and Stoyanovich, or however you say his last name, that kid that came over from Stanford, who's a 6'7" guard. He's young. He's a sophomore, but he can play. I just don't even see at what part of this game that Vanderbilt has the advantage besides the rebounding edge. So unless California comes out here and it's just ice cold, I don't see it, especially at 8.5. So they might end up winning the game as far as Cal is concerned. Or I'm sorry, Vanderbilt's concerned. But at 8.5, I bet this right before we came live here. I just don't understand this line at all.
I think the line's very telling, personally. Everyone. There was 18 votes. It's freaking 1 a.m. But 58% of the 19 votes now came in on Cal. Both you guys like Cal.
I will say that if Vanderbilt is able to keep California off the 3-point line and funnel everything inside, maybe, just maybe, they can score some points. But again, Cal's a new team, but they're also a top 30 team as far as experience goes, and they're top 200 in height. And the reason I mentioned the height factor is Vanderbilt's in the 300s. So again, it's just when you're trying to find little advantages to each side, essentially every check mark goes to Cal.
We love to talk about revenge games in college because I do think that matters sometimes. Cal's leading rebounder is a Vanderbilt transfer.
That matters, you think? Tell that to Villanova.
I'm talking about personal player revenge games because Sawyer Robertson completely changed the way I feel about revenge games when he went into Lubbock and just tore them to pieces. Because that guy sucks, and he threw for 400 yards that day. So now I believe in the personal player revenge games.
Yeah, that'd be dope if it was the same sport.
Andy, I remember we talked about last night what kind of homer you are. Georgia beats the shit out of North Florida. You promised us that North Florida was going to beat your guys.
I didn't promise a thing.
Got it like a guarantee.
No, it's time to admit that you're not looking at your own team through an objective lens.
That's what I said. I said, you don't believe, Andy.
I always do.
You always do. That's why you gave a whole soliloquy
but I
about how
do
North Florida would play him tough.
Winning the SEC, so.
And then at halftime, we're getting Mike White. Mike White.
Man.
Come on.
You know what he doesn't do? Stalk girls.
Okay. Well,
I mean, in the SEC, that's few and far between. You find a guy that.
He's no Mark Pope. He's no Mark Pope, but it's all good.
Nowadays.
All right, let's give it a few more seconds for the community top bet.
And if you guys haven't figured it out, I'm all in on Kentucky at this point. All in.
I can tell.
All in.
SEC. The SEC is going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be
How's Tennessee this year?
Alabama, Kentucky.
They're good. They're going to be good. They're always good.
Texas,
Tennessee's got
hold
Ziegler.
on, if I remember correctly, that Tennessee offense sucked outside of Dalton Connect last year, though.
Yeah, they need to get their guy. Who is it? The name of the transfer? I know they have Chaz Lanier, right? He's the one.
Lanier, Jordan Gainey.
They have another transfer.
Phillips. What's his face?
Tennessee. The problem is their offense is always the system that Barnes runs always fades. I don't think that they're
Yeah, I don't trust Rick Barnes, especially
sneaky.
Later on in the year.
Mississippi State could win the conference.
I will say though, like having Zakai Ziegler and Jordan Gainey as your guards is always a positive. I will say that. As we saw in their game against Louisville, Ziegler, was fantastic.
So we have a problem. The community top bet, only 9 people have voted, and we have a tie. Oh, someone just voted for Cal and broke the tie. So whoever that 10th vote was, you're a hero. So the community top bet is.
Are you talking about that Milicic kid from Charlotte, Andy? The 3-point sniper?
There's
that Dubar kid from Hofstra.
Not played yet.
Because they both shoot like nearly 40% from deep. But yeah, anyway.
The SEC, nobody's talking about Texas because they haven't really played anybody yet. That team
they're coached by Rodney Terry.
Well, you don't like Rodney Terry. I like Rodney Terry. They are really, really good as well. Well, they lost to Ohio State, but Ohio State unbelievable game.
The community top bet.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying the community top bet is Cal plus 8.5. None of you respect Jerry Kill, and you're all gonna learn the hard way. I'm on Vandy. I'm betting it too.
I can't wait.
I'm laying.
I know that now that Vanderbilt's gonna find a way to cover, and
of course they are. I told you. It's not find a way. I told you how they're gonna do it. Electricity through the athletic department. Tried telling you that. I think I'm just talking here. Cherry Kill, man.
I'm at an all-time high this season. I trust Cal and the Cal Bears. Remember last year when Scoop had a bet on Cal? They were down by like 50 in the second half with 5 minutes to go, and they came back and won. I feel it. I feel that energy right now.
That was awesome. Everyone was trashing him in the Discord for his Cal pick, and they were down like 31 points and came back and won.
That was awesome, though.
Helms, I don't usually shout people out. Helms gave us, I don't know if you bet it, Toast. I bet it.
The Belmont pick?
Confident about it. Yeah, he said Belmont money line. I was like, all right, whatever. They won on like the craziest 5. I think they finished the game on like a 7-0 run and won the game. That was on.
Needs to buy a lottery ticket. He's had like 3 days of like last-second covers.
Yeah.
The Grambling one he got.
Was crazy.
I can't remember the other one he got too, but he knows what he's doing. That's for sure.
That was awesome.
All right, I'm gonna start look at some NBA stuff before I go to sleep. Also, it looks like AJ finished the Ravens Steelers video is gonna be up any minute. He's gone, so I guess he finished and left. So everyone, have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. and then I think we could do another midnight stream tomorrow. I think Thursday's college basketball slate is a lot better than Wednesday, so we'll have better games to go through. I think Scoop will be here tomorrow night too.
Let's not count on it.
All right, everyone have a good night. See you in the morning. Bet responsibly.